had taken a class in Coral Gables on Miracle Mile and a bank building or something. 1975, it was unusual for, I don't know, I just felt attracted to learning about Chinese medicine. And he was teaching the class. And then, a week later or so, I find out that I have this diagnosis, and I called Dr. Dale. I said, could we meet for coffee? And, I want to discuss something with you. And he was very nice. He said, of course. And within that short conversation, I knew that what I had said to the doctor when he told me that I had this, I said, I'm not going to do, what you want me to do. There's a part of me that really listens to the core of who I am, to know what truth is. 2 years before that, I had studied for 3 months in India with a teacher, and I learned how to feel, not from here, from the source, the key point of my being. I could tell what I needed to do, not just from thinking about things, not just using critical thinking, but I like critical feeling. And I think today that's the most important thing that we need to grab onto and learn more about. So a lot of what I'm going to say today is going to be from what I feel is important. So in long story short, I ended up walking away from Western medicine, which was surgery, hysterectomy, probably chemotherapy, radiation, 1975. It was 2 conclusive tests that the doctor said, you're going to die. You're going to die. And I don't like that when doctors do that. That idea of playing God, I don't like that at all. Okay. And that's a common thing that they do. So I had inside of me already an incredible background. Okay. I might look like a white Jewish girl from New Rochelle, but I actually was raised by the housekeeper who grew up in North Carolina, had lived on a farm, had raised all her brothers and sisters and didn't go to school, but she ended up becoming my parents' housekeeper for 10 years. And I was 2 years old. I got raised by this African-American, part Cherokee, part German Jewish woman named Benolia Thomas. And this woman instilled in me so much self-worth that was the core of who I spoke from to the doctor who told me I was going to die. And I spoke from that place of power, knowing so deeply that I could heal myself. And from that, I got referred to an acupuncturist. And in 1975, there were no licensed acupuncturists in the state of Florida. I don't even think New York. He literally was off the boat. And he had the long gray beard. And his name was Dr. Felix Marquand. And he looked at me and he said, "No problem, I fix." Just like that. Acupuncture, herbal medicine, it's ancient. And he was coming from his training. He was probably in his 50s. So he had already been doing this, 30 years, something like, not 30 years, but like maybe 25 years. And I trusted the feeling that came from him, and I let go of any fear of death. I trusted that he wouldn't do any harm. I had never had children. I had planned maybe I would have children. And no one, as a woman, no one is going to take that away from me. So I have this toughness, but I'm also an old hippie from the 60s. I'm a love child. So it's mixed together with an incredible inner intelligence of knowing, not believing, but knowing that I can heal myself. So within 1 month of 2 sessions a week, I went back to another OBGYN and had an exam. And the test had already come down half in 1 month. And what I did during that month, I also had a consultation with Michio Kushi, who at the time, he had brought macrobiotics, which means great life. He had brought that to the West. And I just had a phone conversation with him, and he just said, you know, since you're in an extreme situation, you need an extreme diet. And the number 7 macrobiotic diet at that time was just brown rice. Brown rice, cooked a certain way, prepared beautifully with a lot of love and consciousness and everything. And I lived for 10 days on brown rice, and I chewed every bite probably 50 times. I was told you got to chew it 50 to 100 times. But with my personality, I was lucky to get to the 50. Breathing at the same time. Completely praying as well. So that was the first 10 days. And then I added some vegetables, cooked, mostly some beans, a little bit of beans, a little tiny bit of fruit. At the time I was living in Miami in a little studio off of Biscayne Boulevard, right by the bay. I walked every day. I quit my job. I could not work and heal myself at the same time. That I knew for sure. And I had been working in a very difficult situation. It was a halfway house for the mentally ill. I was the activity coordinator. I was around people on very heavy drugs like Thorazine, and they were smoking all around me. Wake up call to put me first. So after 1 month of doing the Chinese medicine and the macrobiotic diet, and going back to another doctor and seeing that it was better, that gave me some hope. I mean, I was hopeful. Yeah, I can do this. That was the first sign of hope. So then I said, okay, I can't afford to live in the United States and not work. Okay, wake up call. So I had a friend, and he and I literally got on a plane and we flew to Venezuela. And I actually was attending a meditation group there. There was like a big conference. So I went to that. And then after a couple of weeks, also met some wonderful people up in the mountains who opened up their home to me and my friend Mark. And we were literally doing things like foot baths. There's a French herbalist. Okay, he was the herbalist to Winston Churchill and people like that. And he wrote a book on how to heal yourself just using herbal foot baths. So that was really the first. And then I carried everything on my back in a backpack. I had a little cooking pot. I had brown rice. I had seaweed, which was not so easy to get, you know, while traveling. So I had to. It's very lightweight, though. You could probably, you know, seaweed is one of the most magical foods on the planet. So anyway, after Venezuela, I took off for 2 weeks actually to go into the jungle. This is all in my book, so I'm going to speed it up a little. Anyway, so then we went down to Peru. This was 1975. It cost $5 a day to survive nicely. We were hitchhiking, we were taking buses, trains. Yeah, and the buses were the ones with the chickens and the goats and all that. It was a different kind of travel. And I liked it. It was a little rough. It was a little rough traveling, but I felt okay. I was not sick. That was another good sign. If I'm not sick and I'm not feeling bad, you know, whatever they say is wrong with me, I'm just gonna, you know, start the healing process and see how that goes. So, you know, this might be strange for some of you to hear this story from someone who's my age, 75, and a hiker, and you know, and grew up in the suburbs of New York, and you know, went to good schools and became a school teacher. I did everything my parents wanted me to do. And then down in Peru, I ended up going to a place called Machu Picchu. I had no idea that this was an ancient, holy city way up in the mountains. Altitude was definitely an issue for me. I didn't feel so great at first. It took me a little bit. I was having to chew on coca leaves, or drink coca tea in order to adapt to that kind of 11,000 feet in Cusco. No, I think Machu Picchu might be like 11 and Cusco's 13,000. Anyway, I spent a few weeks there. Camping out pretty much because there were no hotels. There were no bathrooms. We're talking a little primitive here for a little Jewish princess over here. But you know, we're fluid people. We have to be. If we're going to have a long life. I mean, my mother lived till 99. Dad was 90, and he had 2 hole-in-ones at 89, 88 and 89. So I'm in good hands here, genetically for sure. And I'm having fun in my life, which is the next thing that's really important. So long story short, I traveled all through Peru and learned so much, observing the Quechuan people, the descendants of the Incas. I was watching them with their babies, how they'd be nursing 2 babies at the same time. You know, one would be like newborn, the other one maybe 2 years or whatever. I learned so much about myself. And I just kept eating my brown rice, making a little pot every day of the brown rice and some vegetables that at that time, everything was organic. Monsanto hadn't gotten in there yet, okay? So I was really eating good food. I couldn't drink their water, so I would be making teas and things like that, always boiling to make sure I wouldn't get sick. From Montezuma's Revenge, and I'm sure some of you know what I mean about Montezuma's Revenge. Okay, so then I think, okay, so then after that, I found out that I had an opportunity.
Somebody is coming in that I think you need to get rid of him or something.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll just, if everybody's muted, then we're not going to hear him. All right.
Thank you.
So I don't know. The story goes is I spent 6 months traveling through South America for $5 a day, which I never would have had that luxury to live on $5 a day in Miami at that 1975. And I had a lot of time to write, to read, to think, and to meditate. I was a meditator from 1973 that I learned in India. And this was definitely a challenge. You know, the doctor was totally freaked out. His office had been calling me before I left to go on the journey. You're going to die. You're going to die if you don't come in and listen to what I have to do and, you know, get yourself ready for surgery. No way. In fact, he got so angry, that first doctor, that he slammed the door right in my face. I was in his office and he just walked out and slammed the door, and you heard it through the whole office. And, you know, I just, hey, I got to do my thing. I got to do my thing. And that's just the way it is. I'm going to do what I have to do in this life to stay alive, whatever that is. I'm not listening to anybody else. I will take information, but I make my own decisions. So what we're here today. So long story short, I came back to Miami, got the test. Cancer was gone. 2 years later, had a child, got married, had a child. Now I have 2 grandchildren. And I'm coming down to see them in April. They're on the other coast of Florida. So I can say that because I stuck to my guns, woo, stuck to my guns, girls, come on, and boys. I will do whatever it takes to help people. And that's what I do. For the last 35 years, I have been a massage therapist. I've been someone who's very interested also in fasting and cleansing, keeping the colon nice and clean, pretty much vegetarian for 50 years since that whole time. It just made sense that, you know, once in a while, I got to have a bagel with lox. Okay. I admit. But actually up here, there's no place to get bagels and lox. I'm really in a small town, and if it's not decent bagel and lox, I'm not getting it. So all these years, I have studied with a variety of healers. Mexico with shamans down there, and I consulted with shamans through my trip through Peru. They usually are located in the markets because they're the herbalists. So I would be taking teas that they would recommend to me throughout that whole journey. And then I came home, and then I find out the cancer's gone, and I go back to my life in Miami. And ever since then, I have always had a sense that you did it. You did it, Jill. You healed yourself. You know, you got a baby, and that baby eventually gave me 2 more babies. So I have to say, I don't have any, I'm proud of myself. I am. And I've helped a lot of people all these years because people have heard my story. I've spoken in a lot of different venues over the years. And now with, of course, the internet, you know, I've got a lot of YouTube videos on my video channel and a website. And for the last 25 years, I actually have, in Florida, I was taking people on retreat where I would put them they would come stay in a hotel. It had to have a kitchen. And I would put them actually on a raw program, raw juices, a little bit of broth and things like that, but a complete cleansing program. and then take them to my friend in Boca, who is a colon hydrotherapist, while they're going through the fast to actually have their colon cleaned out. Okay. And when the body gets cleaner, okay, when the toxins leave the body, it's kind of an interesting feeling. You feel younger, you feel more vibrant. And that's something that I do actually for myself at least once a year for a few days. And I'm small, I shrunk, you know what I mean? It's shrunk. I don't like the shrinking business at all. I don't know about anybody else, but inch and a half, but I'm 110 pounds and I'm in very good shape, very strong, very little pain in my body, a little bit in the hands, guitar player, chef, massage therapist, you know, a little wear and tear on these hands. But everything else, I have to say, I don't think I've ever been this healthy at 75. And I plan, I plan to address when I feel some pain, I address it like this. Okay. I just, know, okay, there's some kind of pain going on here or some kind of rash or something. And I make a plan pretty much immediately to find out what it is. I trust my intuition. All right. That intuition has gotten me very far in my life and I'm very proud of it. So here are just some very basic things that I thought about talking about. And I'm going to see if I can actually bring up that, do a screen
Want to
share.
share? I think, hold on, let me see if I can make you co-host.
Okay. Okay. I just lost you for a minute.
You lost me?
No. Am
Jill.
I here? Uh-oh. I moved the screen and it may have.
Just go back to view and it's usually in the upper right, there's a view. You can click on it. I don't know if I can, we have Tracy, if you're co-host, can Jill also be co-host? That would be 3 of us. I don't know if we can do that. I'm not sure.
I'll take myself off as co-host so you can.
Okay.
Okay, so I just have this. Okay, so that's what I'm going to bring up. Let me go here and screen share that. Okay. I think you have to, it says host disabled participant screen sharing. So I think you have to put that back in order for me to bring up that.
Let me do that for you.
Yeah, I think when you muted everybody, it probably cut it all off.
All right, you should be able to share now, Jill.
Try now, Jill, and if not, I'll see if I could pull it up.
Okay, hold on.
Here we
No.
go.
You see it?
Yeah, but I'm seeing the background as well with your list of your iTunes.
Okay.
Can you make it bigger?
Hold on. Let me
Expand your flyer bigger.
wait. That wasn't the one I wanted.
No.
Hold on. No, it was the flyer. Boosting immunity. Okay, here, this one.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, can you see it?
Yeah.
All right, great. So I just kind of boiled down what's important. Can you see the words on the right?
Yep.
Okay. Air and breathing. In terms of immunity training, in terms of common sense, let's just talk about breath. And immediately when I even just say the word, it triggers this reminder that I have this breath, okay? And I want you to explore your breath while we're here on this, chat, this Zoom. I mean, it's fantastic. I love technology. So the opportunity to recognize that we have this capacity to breathe, and by increasing it a little bit and by releasing a little bit more, we are that is, I would say, the number one most important thing you can do to boost your immunity is to get in touch with your breath. And it's just, you know, the basics are, it's our first food. It's the most essential food. It's a way to relax and calm ourselves down. It's a way to attune ourselves to a life force, which is breathing us. And it takes the oxygen and process that in the lungs to, you know, distribute through our entire body, through the bloodstream. And the deeper and more full your breath, honestly, the healthier you will be. And it's, you know, yoga has, I'm not a great yogi or anything like that, but doing breathing exercises can change your life. And you can figure it out. It's a very natural process. Sometimes I breathe into the count of, let's say, 6, and then I breathe out to the count of 8. I don't care if you breathe in through your nose, your mouth. I like going in through my nose and out through my mouth. And even just a few long, deep breaths like that, your body is going to recognize, whoa, what is she doing here? But it's a good feeling. It's a very healing thing to do. And it gets you out of this constant thinking. If you follow along with the breath, it becomes meditative. And so the next very important part of the immunity training is talking about water. Did you know the earth and our human bodies have about the same percentage of water? 60 to 70%. And we are of the earth. In fact, it's almost getting warm enough for me to go outside and put my feet on the ground, on the earth. If you want to talk about getting healthy, I didn't write that specifically on this list, but that is something that's very important. It's called earthing. Makes sense. We have to attune ourselves to nature. So with water, it's best to drink those 8 glasses of 8 ounces 8 times a day. Okay. I don't, you know, I'm drinking a little more tea here because it's warm, it's cold and I want to stay warm. But I also recommend good water. And even though I'm up in the mountains, the community I'm living in, you know, they do put chlorine in the tap water. So I'm not drinking tap water, and nobody should be drinking tap water. I use a Berkey system. Okay. And I'm going to be able to be accessible to everyone who's on this call for a free consult, 20-minute, and a free ebook all about detoxification. So we'll remember that. It does maximize your physical performance when you're, you know, well hydrated. And it works very well also with your energy levels and with the brain function. So, and as I spoke a little bit about colon hydrotherapy, hydrating yourself with water, it relieves constipation and it can aid in weight loss. So these are just some basic things about water and how important water is. Okay, air is our first food. Water is our second food. Sunlight. Oh my God, you guys, I do miss a little bit of that extra sunlight I was getting in Florida for 44 years. However, I just before, coming on this talk, I went outside and there was sun out and I walked for about 30 minutes, up hills, down hills, loving it here, breathing in the fresh air and getting some sunlight, even though, just mostly on my face because I'm all bundled up. But today I wasn't too bundled up. And the thing about sunlight that's really important has to do with vitamin D. Oh my goodness. And we need 15 minutes of exposure. That helps the body maintain calcium, and that will be making stronger bones with that calcium. The sun also helps the body absorb the calcium. I wouldn't stay out in the sun too long in Florida. I was never someone who could lay in the sun. I never could sit still. So, that was my shtick. I would be in the pool and I'd be wearing a hat. I'd be getting some of the sun that way. But I don't ever remember laying in the sun. Sun also enhances your mood. Let's face it, if the sun's out, you're in a better mood than when the sun's not out. And it also creates a higher quality of sleep. I didn't know this. I just learned that because the serotonin from the sun's rays works in tandem with melatonin, which is something that the body naturally makes. And very important, the sunlight actually lowers blood pressure. Who knew? I didn't. Okay, so we're going to go down to organic food. I'm hoping that all of you know that if your food is not organic, it has something called glyphosate, which is in all the pesticides, which is a serious problem in a toxic substance that stays in your body. And that's one reason why fasting, even just something called intermittent fasting, can be very helpful in getting these chemicals that we're not born with and we don't need out of our body. I will say I'm about 95% organic. And what I like about living here in the country is that I have farmers that literally I buy their produce the day that they take it out of the ground. So it's not like, Whole Foods really doesn't have that kind of produce. So that was one of the reasons why I did want to move away from the cities. And it's better for the environment. Also, when we eat food that's right out of the ground and it's organic and it's been grown with a lot more love than what you see that may look pretty in Publix, okay, or even Whole Foods. Not everything in Whole Foods is organic. You got to remember that. It's richer in nutrients and it's not genetically engineered. Organic food is really the old-fashioned food. And I think I probably grew up with some organic food when I was little, but that was also the age where a lot of stuff was in cans. Okay, that wasn't so good. But I'm here. I'm still alive. And the next thing I'm going to talk about is sleep. Because I get a lot of people calling me and they don't sleep. And I feel terrible because I feel terrible if I lose one night, where I'm a little bit famished and I'm just not sleeping as deeply as I like to sleep. And for me, I actually run very low, a low normal blood pressure. And so sleep actually is one of the things that keeps it low. And it's very good for the heart. I stay at a healthy weight. I might be a little thin, but I've been like this all my life. I'm not, according to the culture now, in Spanish, I'll say, muy flaca, very thin. But according to the way I feel and the cultures that I've studied around the world of longevity, thin is fine. It's actually more normal than what we see today in our culture. Sleep reduces stress, it improves mood, clearer thinking, okay? And memory improves memory. Because if you're exhausted, you have no energy to even begin to remember even who you are and what your name is. And it boosts your immune system, which is what we need to do. We need to keep our immune system very high, and then we have no fear of anything. And we go back to the breath. This is an incredible life and an incredible human body. It's actually a complete miracle. And I literally, when I go out for my walks, I talk to myself anyway, you can tell. And when I'm walking, I am in major gratefulness and expressing myself, talking to the trees. I do talk to the bears. I ask them not to show themselves to me. I do wear a little bear bell, and I have a loud voice if I need it. So I'm prepared if that bear family decides, they're going to show themselves. I'm not afraid of the bears. Like I wasn't afraid of alligators on my rides in Loxahatchee Wildlife Refuge that I did for 20 years, riding a bike. So, I am just grateful for my human body. Yeah, I got a few wrinkles. All right, I asked my grandchildren, you still gonna love Nanny Jill when she gets more wrinkles? They think I'm hysterical. They call me Nanny Ninja, as you can tell. I'm a bit of a ninja. And, of course, movement, exercise, incorporating these wonderful basics, breath, water, sunlight, organic food, and sleep. I deserve this. I have worked my tuchus off for many, many years, and I'm still working, okay? I have to work, okay? This is the way it is, and I know it, and I'm okay with it. So I'm gonna keep working, doing what I love, helping other people to get inspired to be the best they can be. Isn't that what it's all about? So we're going to have time now. Perhaps I'll stop talking. You can ask me questions, and you will moderate that, Faith.
Yeah, I want to just say again that in case it got cut off at the beginning when we were not yet recording, that we are speaking today to Jill Ayn Schneider, a revolutionary healer, and she's got all kinds of great information. I'm concerned that a lot of people were not able to get on the call, but there will be a recording link available on our website, which will be up in a day or so probably. And I have to say, Jill, I love you. You're so inspiring. And I know just everything you've talked about, even though there's a lot more, but these 5 basic common sense things that you spoke about today are things that we take for granted, and we need to be reminded of the most basic things. And it's true, like just breathing. And I've learned in my own recovery work and in my own healing work that the same thing, the breath was the first thing that I was taught. And you taught me a lot about that too. And I've learned from you over the past 10 years about gratitude and self-care and self-love, and about nutrition and juicing, and even essential oils that you would use during our massage treatments and stuff. You have done so much to teach me, and in turn also to help me be a better mother, to teach my 3 children about self-care and nutrition and all these important things, and about how the body how our immune systems can heal themselves. And I have to say, I think that, I mean, thank God, knock wood, we all have very strong immune systems in my house. And I think a lot of that has to do with the lifestyle that we've been living and the way that we've brought up the kids. And even with my son having COVID, he's living at home. I have my two youngest twins are 20, and they're living at home right now. About 10 days ago, he was diagnosed with COVID, but he has the most mild symptoms. He's been quarantining in his room, but he has the most mild symptoms. And after he got tested positive, my daughter and I went to go get tested too. And it's really odd, but our tests came back negative. We took them on Friday. We just got the results today, came back negative, but Friday night and Saturday, I became symptomatic. Even though the long test, it came back with negative. And I felt a fever and chills and aches and pains all over Friday night, Saturday night. It was a low fever, like 100. Never got more than 100. But in 2 days, I feel fine again, and we're taking precautions and quarantining and doing what we can at home, and eating good. I have a big pot of bone broth that my daughter made for me that I've been sipping. But I'm saying that, these basic, tools, this basic knowledge, I think has helped strengthen our immune system so much that even though we may have COVID, we're going to get through this and we're going to handle it. And the symptoms, thank God, aren't going to be, immobilizing us. So we're going to be back out in the world in no time. And I do want to open it up for people. If you would like to ask Jill some questions, I know some of you may be waiting a while, and there's a lot of information that Jill has. And if you don't get to ask your questions, you can get in touch with her after. Her website is on the screen. And let's see, we have someone just raised their hand. Monica, did you want to ask that, Monica?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. It was a pleasure, Jill. Thank you so much for your experience sharing.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you.
I really believe in the natural healing. I've been a yogi meditator since I was 15. I'm 47 right now. But the life comes and goes, and we have our experiences. I have a problem with the thyroid. No medications at all for a couple of years, and now I'm in a detox, the master cleanse for 10 days. This is my 5th day without food at all.
Wow.
Oh, really? Wow.
Just the lime, the cayenne pepper, and
Oh,
the
I know that
maple
one.
syrup. Oh my gosh, I feel so amazing. This is the 3rd day. Usually the 4th day is the hardest, but not the 3rd day. This time it was amazing. My body feels really relieved. I'm lighter, but I wanted to know where to get the food and where is the organic food, because after this I wanted to do more of natural stuff to finish healing my body. And where's your office?
Well, I'm in North Carolina, but I do know South Florida, and there's a farm. It's between Del Rey. It's on 441, right off of 441. It's like right on the corner of the road that takes you to the Loxahatchee Wildlife Refuge, and it's called Bednar's.
Okay,
And they have not necessarily quote organic, but that company, that farm, there's some kind of echo, but whatever. They call it sustainable. When you go in there, you ask them, whatever is homegrown is theirs, and they don't spray it. They use something called neem as a pesticide. And so when I used to ride my bike there, I always stopped at Bednar's to get the greens. Okay, beautiful. Even broccoli and cauliflower, they grow a lot at this time of the year. Beautiful, sustainable food. There are also clubs. There are organic food clubs around Boca. And I had belonged to a couple of those over the years where someone, everything's delivered to this one person's home. They break up all the orders and everybody gets a box, for a week or two.
Nice.
So those are two
Wonderful.
good places to get your organics.
Yeah,
I
those
mean,
are-
in a
Okay.
clinch, Trader Joe's has some organics, okay, but it's in plastic, and that is kind of a turn off to me.
Yeah, no.
But I'm
Thank you.
proud of
And-
you for doing the Master Cleanser program. Monica did the Master Cleanser program, and look at her smiling. Look how happy she is. Oh my God. And it's not that hard.
It's not. It's not. It's just your mind that playing with
Oh,
you.
yeah. The mind wants to eat everything in sight.
Yeah. But after I was feeling bad, I knew this is my 5th time, I guess, that I did it. Like I usually do it once a year or every 2 years.
Good.
But right now my body said, this is it. I was gaining a little weight. I knew that my body was toxin. And like you said, toxins are everywhere. It's just like you cannot avoid in the shampoos and the everything. Sometimes
Everything. Yeah, my clients, they learn how to, really get down to the basics of, people walk into my house and they say they never smelled a house that smells so clean. And believe me, I'm not like obsessive. There's a little dust here and there, but whatever, I do the best I can. But I don't have anything toxic, that would give off any kind of aroma. And I actually bought some kind of cleaning thing for the floor, and I'm going to return it because I looked at, I actually got a chance to really read it, what's on it, and I don't want it. I'm going to figure out what to do for the floor. I have like engineered wood. So,
Jill,
you
am I
know,
so
I-
consultations, do you do consultations online
yeah,
or
I do
something?
consultations online. Absolutely. And when you
Okay,
go to
so-
my website, you can email me underneath, definitely the first page and some other pages too, but you can send me a message and I will call you or email you back and we'll set up a time. Free consult, 20-minute. And I
Okay,
go over
then
20
Thank
because
you.
I can't help
Thank
it.
you. Thank you for your question, Monica, and good luck with your fast. And
Yes.
Jill, do you have is your phone turned on or something? I'm just wondering where the echo is coming from.
No, my phone's not on.
The phone's not on?
No, I
You're
think
only-
when I speak with someone else, I hear it, but right now I'm not hearing it.
Okay, because we were hearing an echo. Tracy had a question.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you, when you do a fasting regimen, you don't really not eat anything, right? What is it, the cleansing that you're talking about? What is it how long and what is it that you do eat while you're fasting?
Well, actually, you're eating, but you're eating it as a liquid. So you're putting carrots and celery and beets and apples and ginger and all kinds of wonderful real food through the juicer. And you're getting the essence in that juice. And when you start drinking juices, you realize what you've been missing all your life because you go, oh my God, this is so good. And you feel it in your body. It goes right into your blood. It's really the most energetic food you can eat.
And
And
how,
you're just eating, you're drinking juices. And if you, some clients, if they're thin and I don't want them to lose weight, I will offer the idea of smoothies. So you take avocado, you take a banana, you take some blueberries, you put it in the blender with some water and, some green powder, some spirulina, some moringa. These are superfoods, and maybe a little stevia because it may not taste great. And then you drink this thick, smoothie. And that becomes maybe 2 drinks a day of a smoothie and maybe 3 or 4 juices a day and water. And then if it's, I like broth, and Faith just mentioned she had a bone broth. And that is, you know, I don't do the beef stuff. So I just make a vegetable broth. I take all the vegetables I've got, especially, you know, before they start going bad, chop them up, put them in a big pot of water, boil that up, put a little seasoning in there, a little tamari, which is a soy sauce, very organic, nice soy sauce, and maybe even some miso. Miso is a very important thing to learn about. So I make miso soup a lot. And I do when I'm fasting, but you know, some people, you know, you just have to, I can teach you all, everybody on this call, I can teach you guys. You can go to, I'm going to send you an ebook I wrote on juice fasting with recipes.
That would be great.
Okay? So anybody who give me your email, gotta have it.
Can we put it on the chat so you can, where, in the chat?
Well, in the chat, you're gonna see my website address. So what, she's ahead of herself, that Monica. She's a go-getter.
So I want to say there's in the chat, Linda was saying, while acknowledging that inner detoxing and cleansing along with inner peace is the source of health, I am interested in recommendations for products for face, body, hair, home, etc. And I can tell you, Jill is a wonderful resource, and if you'll contact her after, she will be able to advise you as far as all of that.
Yeah, and you know, I'm just we can do it, guys. We can. It's not living a long life we want. We want a quality life. I've never taken, I think there was a one time that some doctor was checking my thyroid and he said, oh, you know, if it isn't this, you know, you're going to have to get on medication. And I just looked at him like I looked at that doctor who told me I had cancer and he was going to operate and all this stuff. I don't put up with that crap. That's big pharma. That's the training that these doctors do, you know, have gotten throughout their lives. And it's all about money. I'm sorry, it's all about money. Now, certain doctors like orthopedics and do amazing hip replacements, and thank God I don't need anything like that, but I'm in great appreciation of emergency medicine. Take me to a hospital in an emergency. But when it comes to most doctors, they're too specialized. They don't look at the whole person. They don't even listen to you half the time. And then they just write you a prescription. And most people are on so many medications. It makes me sick. I get upset about that when I don't try off any medication, but I just say, clean yourself out. Take care of yourself first. You come first. Who's next?
Definitely a mindset. Definitely a mindset. And I can say that
I can't hear you so well. Faith, up your volume.
You're echoing a lot. I'm not sure where it's coming from.
Does everybody else hear it?
I think they're muted.
Yeah, we can hear a little bit of an echo, but it's okay.
Okay.
I think it's only when I'm talking with someone else.
Yeah, you were good just then.
That's weird. We haven't had that happen. But anybody else have a question for Jill? It's a few minutes after 4, and for those of you who can hang out for just a bit longer, Jill has a few special original songs that she wrote, and she would like to share them with us. Jill, are you ready for that, or is there anything else?
Yeah, give me a minute.
Yeah. While you're doing that, let me just say that in case you didn't hear the beginning, our website is bocalibraryfriends.org, and you can read all about our programs and all of the things that we do for the community. You can also, we would love for you to become a member if you're not already a member of the Friends, and we appreciate your support. If there's, and if you can make a donation, even the smallest amount, we appreciate very much. Thank you, Tracy. Tracy just put the website in the chat. And you also can tell your friends who might not have been able to get on this call that the recorded link will be available on the website as well. Also, there's a website called greatnonprofits.org, and it would help us if you wouldn't mind going to that website and just writing a little blurb about us and how you enjoy our programs. That would help us also. We'd appreciate that. We usually have our speaker series on the fourth Sunday of the month, and I just want to remind you to join us for next month, which is going to be not on the fourth Sunday of the month due to Passover. We're going to be doing it on March 21st. And in honor of Women's History Month, we're having a return of author D.L. Havlin, who's going to be speaking about his Rising Above series, the Jacqueline Cochran story. And if you've never heard of Jacqueline Cochran, you will be amazed. She was from Florida, and she was a giant in the aviation industry and in business. So it'd be interesting to join us on March 21st and learn about that. So for now, I'm going to turn it back over to Jill, and for our listening pleasure, we can enjoy a few of her original tunes. Thanks, Jill.
Thank you. I'm actually going to put my original songs, maybe about 6 to 8 of them, I'm not sure, into my audiobook that's coming out probably 2 to 3 months from now. I'm recording my story. I actually put my recording studio in the master closet. It's working really well. And I studied audio engineering over the past few years with a producer who's been helping me. And now I have another producer here in the mountains who's also helping me. And it seems that they think I'm good enough to record and to get my music out there one way or the other. I feel like my music is, it's all about healing. It's all about having confidence. It's all about loving yourself, all the things I talked about. So I can't really adjust, any of the volume and the sound of my voice. So, I'm going to try to play a little quieter and maybe sing a little louder, and we'll see how that works. My first song is called The Romance of Life. I'm having a romance with life. That's me. Just with myself. It's fantastic. The romance of life is right inside me, waiting for me to find out what I really long for. When I can be quiet, I can hear love speak to me freely. I'll grab a hold and I won't let go. It feels so good to know that this love will help me to grow in the romance of life. Life is full of surprises. Hit you up, bust you down, just be going round and round. Keep on moving, it's more fun that way. Ooh. It feels so good to know that this love will help me to grow in the romance of life. The story's been told longer than I know. It's free for me and you when we are really ready. The sun is shining and the birds are singing. God knows I feel this life down to my very toes. It feels so good to know that this love will help me to grow in the romance of life. In the romance of life. Could you hear it?
Yes, it was fantastic.
So, you know, that particular song I used to sing when I lived in Florida, in Miami especially, before I got to Del Rey. I used to do a lot of nursing homes, assisted livings, okay? And of course, that style came from the old 1930s songs like All of Me, Why Not Take All of Me? So I stole the chords from that song, All of Me, because I used to sing it all the time, and I made my own song with it called The Romance of Life. I want to have fun. I don't know about you guys, but my whole plan about living on planet Earth for the rest of my life, because I've already been having a lot of fun, I'm here to have fun. And I'm having fun when I'm learning, when I'm living, when I'm loving, when I'm sharing, when I'm eating gorgeous food, walking beautiful hills. That's when I'm having fun. So this next song is a blues style. And I picked up the guitar in 1966, right after college. Guitars and folk songs were popular. And this is called Hanging On to Pure Love. This is not just love like a relationship love. I'm in a relationship with myself. I love myself. That's the most important love. That comes first. Well, I'm tired of the limits that my mind puts over me. A mighty tight squeeze to find some friggin' dignity. I've looked everywhere around this whole world, up and down, around and through this old girl. And I'm grateful for this life that breathes me through and through. And I'm hanging on to pure love, that's all there is to do. Gotta hang on to that love right inside myself. I ain't going to no heaven that's up above somewhere. I've got it all right here and now, if you should even care. 'Cause talk is cheap and I won't say much more about this now. But if you want to know the truth, if your concepts will allow, I'm grateful for this life that breathes me through and through. And I'm hanging on to pure love, that's all there is to do. You can clap your hands. Don't tell me how to live my life. It's up to each of us to sing the low down blues or get on that joyful bus, taking us to where we all belong. There's a love inside our hearts, no need for us to roam. So part of my story is I took care of a very important family back in the 80s who had a major influence on my life. And that family was the family of Mr. Bo Diddley. And if you don't know who Bo Diddley is, man, you got to go look it up. He was the man that actually invented the original rock and roll rhythm. He grew up in Mississippi Delta. He ended up in Chicago. I went to see him when I was 13 at the Brooklyn Paramount, 1958. And he went on to figure out that if he added an African rhythm to his rhythm and blues, voila, you got rock and roll. So I was his massage therapist. I took care of him and his family. I do a kind of massage called barefoot shiatsu. I step on people, literally it's a Japanese form of massage. Been doing that for 35 years. So I was a part of his family and I hung out with him on and off for 25 years till he passed. I think he was about 79 when he passed and could have been maybe 10 years ago. So thank you, Bo Diddley. Thank you for everything. You're a very important influence in my life. All right. So, you know, the girl goes to the mountains and I get up here and I'm so inspired to live in these mountains, this beautiful mountain range outside of Asheville. So, you know, I wrote a song already. So this is actually my newest. No, it's not my newest. There's a couple more I haven't worked on enough though. This is called Back to My Roots. I traveled here from way down south, North Carolina bound, up so high where the mountains sing. Waterfalls and crystal balls embedded in the earth. So much healing can bring. I'm going back to my roots. I know I always would feel a peace in my soul. People I meet just walking down the street feel like kindred folks of old. Old Man River flows, singing as he goes. Nature makes me feel so alive. People here are friendly, giving you their time, pausing to look you in the eyes. I'm going back to my roots. I knew I always would feel a peace from my soul. People I meet just walking down the street feel like kindred folks of old. Mountains are alive from their very core, giving joy to those who can receive. Now I know how grateful I need be to wear my heart right on my sleeve. I'm going back to my roots. I knew I always would feel a peace from my soul. People I meet just walking down the street feel like kindred folks of old. Back to my roots. I knew I always would feel a peace in my soul. People I meet just walking down the street feel like kindred folks of old. And it's I was everywhere in my community. I talk to everybody, and I give them a card, but at the same time, you know, a lot of the people who live up here in this community, they're snowbirds. So, you know, right now they're not around, but I just, you know, I know more people in this community than people who've been living here for 20 years. I have to know where I am and who lives around me. And I want to know their dogs, and I want to know who they are and where they're from. I have the curiosity of the 20 million cats, okay? Whatever that whole thing about curiosity. I just want to know where I am and who I'm living around. And not just people who are here, you know, part-time, because they're snowbirds. Many of them are in Florida now. But I have local friends, beautiful young couple that they're like my kids, okay? Since I don't have my son here, now I have a young couple, they're like close to 30, and I'm actually gonna help them start a business because they're so smart, and I don't want them working for anybody else throughout their life, because they deserve better and they're smart enough to do it. And I'm going to make him a website, and I'm going to make him a really nice card. And he's got a business. He's a mason. He should have his own business, be training people to do mason work. And I'm going to help the woman, Samantha and Gabe. And Samantha is going to, she's going to start a house cleaning business, organic. I'm going to show them where to get really good products. And I'm going to teach them even how to make things from scratch, like using vinegar instead of other, you know, Windex and all that crap. And so I'm going to be part of then, you know, in exchange, they'll clean my house. And we're friends. We're just totally incredible friends. And I sing with them. You know, Samantha was crying because she said, Jill, you just remind me of my grandmother, who I don't have anymore. And she was crying, and I just felt so touched that I could have these beautiful young friends here. And then I have another group of friends, wild women, just like me. And I recently met them and came together with them. And there's a different energy up here in these mountains, a lot of healers. So anyway, anybody have any more questions? Maybe I could do one more song. Oh, we got some questions from Jay.
Unmute yourself, Jay.
He doesn't have
Yourself.
unmute. Unmute yourself. Where'd you go? We lost you, Jay.
He went on the video.
Oh, there he is.
Unmute your audio.
Mute.
There you go.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay. A little slow with the technology. I play the guitar and sing.
Oh, do you
And
really?
I've only been doing it for 4 years.
Oh,
And I love your style. Absolutely love your style. I wanted to ask, are you plugged into an amplifier?
no. No, nothing. I'm just in front of my computer, my MacBook. That was it, you know, and I know it's not really high quality, but
No. I was
okay?
enjoying the music. Yeah, it was beautiful.
Oh, thank you,
Beautiful.
Jay.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Love you.
Mwah, I love you too.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I'm a Leo, okay? Leos, we're big. We need audiences.
Jill, you rock.
That's great.
And I think that our guest Stephanie said it best. She wrote in the chat, so uplifting and fascinating. Thanks, friends of Boca Public Library. Jill is remarkable. And yes, I agree. And I'm so glad that you were able to meet our friends group and do this presentation and performance for us today. It has been really uplifting and inspiring. And I really want to thank you for joining us, and thank everybody for coming. And remember to come back next month on March 21st, and we will see you then. Until then,
Thank you so much, Faith.
you're very welcome. And
putting
we'll
my
talk
information
soon.
underneath the chat,
What's that, Jill?
the website, so people can,
Well, you're still sharing your screen, so it's up there. Jill's website is jilleinschneider.com.
yeah.
So anybody, if you want to get in touch with Jill, go to her website and you can email her or call her, and you can go from there. Yeah, good? Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you so
Great.
much.
Thank you so
Stay well,
much.
be safe. We'll see you next month. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
What a smart